Death has a way of stopping us in our tracks. It forces us to pause, to question, and to reflect on the fragile thread we all walk. The end of a life, like the end of a chapter, is never just about what's gone. It's about what it awakens in those left behind. Charlie Kirk's end is not only a story of loss. It's a mirror held up to your own journey. What if endings weren't something to fear, but something to learn from? What if the close of his journey could ignite the beginning of yours? Behind every ending lies a hidden invitation, an opportunity to grow stronger, to redefine who you are and arise in ways you never imagined. The question is, will you let endings break you or will you let them build you? Charlie Kirk was more than just a name. For many, he represented a voice, a movement, a figure that sparked both agreement and controversy. But beyond the headlines and opinions, what stands out most now is not the noise of his presence, but the silence of his end. His departure forces us to confront something larger than politics, larger than personality. It forces us to confront endings themselves. Endings are universal. They arrive in every life, sometimes quietly, sometimes with the force of storm. The end of a career you thought would last forever. The end of a friendship you believed unshakable. The end of a dream you held since childhood. Or the devastating end of someone you love. Each one feels different, but they all share the same sting. They remind us that nothing is permanent. Charlie Kirk's end is a mirror for all of us. It is not just about him, it is about you. It is about what happens when you are forced to face the closing of a chapter you never wanted to end. It is about the moment when the ground shifts beneath you and you ask yourself, what now? Who am I if this is gone? The truth is, we all face moments where the end feels like the end of us. Have you ever been there? Have you ever held on so tightly to something that when it slipped away, you thought life had slipped away with it? Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a business. Maybe it was your own self-image. Whatever it was, it left a hole. And for a time, you wondered if you could ever be whole again. But here's the paradox of endings. They are both death and birth. They strip away, but they also make space. They break you, but they also invite you to rebuild. And while the end of Charlie Kirk's journey reminds us of loss, it also reminds us of opportunity. Because in every ending, yours, mine, his, there's a hidden door. And the question is not whether that door exists. The question is, will you walk through it? One of the hardest truths we face in life is this. Every chapter must close. We fight against this truth because as human beings, we crave permanence. We want relationships to last forever, careers to stay steady, and mentors to always be there when we need them. But life doesn't work that way. It moves in seasons. And no matter how tightly we hold on, endings will come. The pain often comes from resistance. Think about a relationship that was already falling apart. Deep down, you knew it was over, but you resisted. You clung to what was familiar, even when it no longer served you. And the more you resisted, the more it hurt when the final goodbye came. The same happens in careers. Maybe you poured years into a job, believing it was your path, only to watch the company shut its doors. Or maybe you've had a mentor, someone who guided you, and when they pass away, it felt like losing not just a person, but a part of your identity. These moments are painful because they shatter the illusion of control. But the truth is, we were never meant to control endings. We were meant to learn from them. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding loss. It comes from accepting it, from saying, this chapter is closing, but that doesn't mean the story is over. And here's the beauty. Endings are not just closures, they are openings. When a relationship ends, yes, there's heartbreak, but there's also space for self-discovery, for healing, for healthier love to emerge. When a career collapses, yes, there's uncertainty, but there's also the chance to reinvent yourself, to step into something you might never have considered. When a mentor passes, yes, there's grief, but there's also the opportunity to honor them by carrying forward their lessons in your own life. Endings are the soil where resilience grows. They break us down, but like soil enriched by decay, they also prepare the ground for something new to take root. If we can accept that endings are a natural part of life, then we can stop resisting change and start growing through it. So the next time you face an ending, and don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask instead, What is this ending making possible for me? That shift is the essence of resilience. If endings are the soil of resilience, then pain is a fire that forges transformation. Nobody chooses pain willingly. Yet it is often in our darkest moments that we discover who we truly are. Pain breaks us open. It strips away comfort, ego, and illusion until all that remains is the raw material of change. Think about the person who loses everything in a single moment. Maybe it's a business owner who pours years of savings, energy, and dreams into a company, only to watch it collapse overnight. At first, they feel crushed. Their identity is shattered. They wonder if they'll ever stand again. But in that emptiness, something shifts. They begin to rebuild, not as the same person, but as someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. What once looked like the end becomes the beginning of a new chapter, filled with lessons that success alone could never have taught. Or picture someone at rock bottom after heartbreak. Their partner leaves. Their world feels empty, and they believe love has abandoned them forever. Yet slowly, through the tears and silence, they begin to heal. They learn to love themselves again. They discover passions and callings they had buried for years. And one day, they realize that what once felt like unbearable pain was actually the foundation for a new, deeper kind of joy. This is a paradox of pain. It feels like destruction, but it carries the seed of rebirth. Transformation rarely happens in comfort. It happens in the furnace of struggle. Charlie Kirk's end, whether you agree with him or not, reminds us of this truth. His passing is not only a mark of loss, it's a reminder that every ending, every pain, can be turned into fuel. The pain of losing someone can become the motivation to live with greater purpose. The pain of failure can ignite the courage to try again, smarter and stronger. The pain of heartbreak can push us to rediscover our worth and rebuild our lives on firmer ground. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. And when you choose to let pain shape you instead of break you, you step into a kind of strength you never knew you had. That's how resilience is born. Not in the absence of suffering, but in the decision to turn suffering into purpose. Every ending leaves behind a shadow, a footprint, a ripple that continues long after the final chapter closes. This is what we call legacy. It's not about fame or recognition. It's about impact. Legacy is what others feel, remember, and carry forward because of the life you lived and the choices you made. Charlie Kirk's departure is a reminder of this. Agree with him or not, his end forces us to stop and reflect. What will people remember about him? What did he stand for? But more importantly, what about you? When your own chapter closes, what will remain? Will it be bitterness and regret? Or will it be lessons, love, and strength? Legacy isn't built in one grand moment. It's created in the small, daily decisions we make. The way you treat people. The words you speak when nobody is watching. The courage to stand for something meaningful. These become the threads of your story that outlive you. The truth is, we don't get to decide whether we leave a legacy. We only get to decide what kind it will be. Charlie Kirk's end, like every ending, challenges us to live with intention right now. To stop waiting for the perfect time, to become the person we know we're capable of being. So ask yourself, if today were the end, what would my legacy be? Would the people around you remember your strength, your kindness, your resilience? Or would they remember someone who never truly lived, who let fear and comfort steal their potential? Endings are not just moments of grief. They are invitations. Invitations to live bolder, love deeper, and leave behind something worth remembering. Because in the end, life is not measured by how long it lasts, but by the impact it makes while it's here. Reflection is powerful, but transformation happens when reflection turns into action. Endings, no matter how painful, can become the starting line of growth if we learn how to process them with intention. Here are 3 steps you can take today to apply these lessons to your own life. Step 1, write it down. Think of an ending you faced. Maybe it was the loss of a loved one, the collapse of a dream, or the ending of a relationship. Don't run from it. Write it down on paper. Describe how it felt, what it took from you, and why it hurt. Naming your ending is a first step toward owning it. Step 2, reframe it. Once it's on paper, ask yourself, what did this ending make possible for me? Maybe the loss pushed you toward growth. Maybe the heartbreak opened a door to self-discovery. Maybe the failure taught you skills that are now part of your strength. Reframing the ending doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms how you carry it. Step 3. Choose your legacy daily. Legacy isn't about tomorrow. It's about what you do today. Ask yourself, what kind of mark do I want to leave in this moment? Live each day as if your choices are writing the story people will remember. Because they are. These steps are simple, but they are powerful. They turn endings from walls into doors, from losses into lessons, when practiced consistently. They shape resilience not as a theory, but as a habit. Your story doesn't end with what you've lost. It begins with what you decide to build from here. Charlie Kirk's end is not just about death. It's about rebirth. Yours. His story reminds us that every ending, no matter how painful, holds within the potential for transformation. Endings strip away what we cannot carry forward, but in doing so, they leave space for us to grow into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So as you reflect on his departure and on the endings in your own life, remember this. Endings are not meant to define you. They are meant to refine you. They are not meant to stop your story, but to push you into the next chapter of it. Every ending holds the seed of your strongest beginning. The question is, will you plant it? If this message has spoken to you, don't just listen. Engage. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that build strength. And drop a comment below to let us know where in the world you're watching from. Your story matters, and your resilience can inspire someone else.